Content presented in Cheshire Corners is for educational and informational purposes only. Please consult a legal professional if you have any questions or concerns about the content of this disclaimer, this series, or the legal implications surrounding psychedelic substances in your jurisdiction.
This is a donut. It is very sweet and very good. But if you'd never tasted a donut, you wouldn't really know how sweet and how good a donut is if you'd never had that experience. Transcendental meditation is like that. Transcendental meditation gives an experience much sweeter than the sweetness of this donut. It gives the experience of the sweetest nectar of life, pure bliss consciousness. As Maharishi says, those who don't know, they don't know. Those who know, they enjoy.
Those who do not know what this TM is, in ignorance people may say anything, but those who begin to know it, begin to enjoy it.
Most people's idea of meditation is that it's the nature of the mind to be active, which is pretty obvious, and it's therefore the job of meditation to control the mind, to still the mind, to get the benefits of inner silence. Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, who was my teacher, he trained me to teach Transcendental Meditation, and I qualified back in 1990. He said that, yes, it's the nature of the mind to be active, but also the nature of the mind to be still.
It's an ancient technique brought back by Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. That's Transcendental Meditation.
Right. It was actually George Harrison's wife, Patty, who had heard that Maharishi was coming to town. And she said we should all go.
So I want to talk to you about TM, which I have now been doing 41 years. 41 years. I don't remember exactly how I started. It was some kid I knew. I had just gone to college, and you know, we were still kind of in the flush of the feeling of the 60s, and I just wanted to try any new thing that I heard about. And so I went and I learned TM, and I do remember the very first time I did it, and I remember that I was up the entire night because I never felt that good before, and I had terrible acne. I think I was about 18, and it all just went away, and I became a world famous comedian. That's my story. That's the entire story of my life.
Are we rolling?
We are rolling.
Oh, okay.
The Maharishi teaching in your life, how did it all start? Can you tell us the story?
Yes.
Tension and stress and strain are increasing in every country, whether it's a affluent society or a developing nation, but suffering is everywhere. It is possible for every man to go deep within and saturate his conscious mind with inner happiness, with that unlimited intelligence that dwells at the source of thought. The principle of transcendental meditation is simple. Being is bliss in its nature, is infinite happiness. Mind is always moving in the direction of greater happiness. It is the experience of everyone. Wherever the mind goes, it goes in the direction of greater happiness. And because the nature of inner being is bliss, infinite happiness, therefore, the mind during transcendental meditation takes that inward course in a most spontaneous manner. In this meditation, we do not concentrate or control the mind. We let the mind follow its natural instinct towards greater happiness, and it goes within and gains bliss consciousness in the being.
What does meditation, can you say anything about how meditation might connects to your creative process or might help the creative process of my students or myself?
Yes, I can.
Will you?
Yes, I will.
Okay.
Tonight's talk is consciousness, creativity, and the brain. And if you have a golf ball-sized consciousness, when you read a book, you'll have a golf ball-sized understanding. When you look out, a golf ball-sized awareness. And when you wake up in the morning, a golf ball-sized wakefulness. But if you could expand that consciousness, then you read the book, more understanding. You look out, more awareness. And when you wake up, more wakefulness. It's consciousness. And there's an ocean of pure, vibrant consciousness inside each one of us. And it's right at the source and base of mind, right at the source of thought, and it's also at the source of all matter. And Maharishi Mahesh Yogi teaches a technique called Transcendental Meditation. That's a simple, easy, effortless technique, yet supremely profound, that allows any human being to dive within, experiencing subtler levels of mind and intellect, and transcend and experience this ocean of pure consciousness. This pure consciousness is called by modern physics the unified field. It's at the base of all mind and all matter. And they now say, modern science says, all of matter, everything that is a thing, emerges from this field. And this field has qualities like bliss, intelligence, creativity, universal love, energy, peace. And it's not the intellectual understanding of this field, but the experiencing of it that does everything. This here represents the surface of life. Surface. And we see surfaces, surfaces. And about 300 years ago, scientists, they started wondering, what was this wood, and what was this metal, and what was it really? So they start looking into matter. So this side is matter, and this side is mind. Mind and matter. And the scientists, well, they discovered molecules. Deeper they went, and they discovered these atoms. And like I say, they thought that was the smallest particle for a long time. All these things we learn about in school. They went deeper, and they find inside the atoms these little electrons and neutrons and protons. And they went deeper and deeper and deeper, smaller and smaller particles, smaller and smaller particles. They found 4 forces. On a deeper level, the 4 became 3. And on a deeper level, the 3 became 2. And then, about 30 years ago, modern science, quantum physics, discovered the unified field. The unity of all the particles and all the forces of matter, of creation. Not only did they discover the unified field, but they found that everything that is a thing emerges from this field of no thing. Unmanifest it is. Unmanifest. It is no hyphen thing, but all things come from it. Anything that is a thing has emerged from this field of unity. It's oneness. The scientists know this exists, but if they wanted to get there, You can't get there. It's unmanifest. You can't walk into this field.
I'll quote a line from Richard Pryor. This is one of my favorite lines. It's actually from a bit he did about racism. And he starts the bit and he says, before we even talk about racism, he says, you know, it's hard just being a person. Forget about having to deal with racial hostility. Just being a person is hard. And that would be my introduction to people who don't think they need TM. Being a person is hard. TM is like you have a cell phone and someone gives you the charger. And you go, oh, now I can keep using this thing and it will work all the time. The other way that I describe it, so are there a lot of people here that don't do TM? That are just here to kind of learn a little bit about it? Okay, so the other way I'll describe it to you is, and I can see from the faces who does it and who doesn't do it, by the way. The other way I will describe TM to you is, do you know how 3 days a year you get a good night's sleep? And you wake up and feel like, oh, this is how I should feel all the time. But you can't get more than 3 good nights' sleeps a year because of the circumstances of your life. Well, TM, you can have that every day. That every day you're just, the bar on the cell phone is all the way up. You leave the house and the charger is full. You know that tremendous feeling of power when your phone is fully charged? And somebody calls and you go, I want to hear every detail of this story. I am loaded with juice. That's what TM is.
Automatically, if I'm to criticize somebody else, I suddenly come back to myself and realize until I'm straight, then I'm in no position to be able to criticize others. So it helps. It's a slow. Also, it helps in as much as you can. Any time of the day, any situation you're in, you can get control of yourself just by sitting quietly and by turning off from the external problems that you have, noise and all this society. That you can go inside yourself where it's always calm and peaceful. It's like being on this level of consciousness. It's like the ocean, which is always changing, and the bottom of the ocean is always calm and still. And if you're not anchored to the bottom of the ocean, you're at the mercy of whatever change goes on. Now, this process of meditation or different types of yoga is all just a way to anchor yourself securely to that pure state of consciousness, to that state of being, so that you can still act out your life on the surface, but you remain anchored securely.
See, I think a lot of people, when they do hear about it, when the Beatles got involved, whatever, people think, well, they got involved in some religion.
Right.
But I think more in recent times, certainly from my experience, when you listen to even someone like Howard Stern, and people didn't know that he's been doing TM for a long time, and that's how he's kept his center through all the turmoil and his tremendous rise to success.
The mind, given the opportunity, will just flow like a river to the ocean, innocently and effortlessly. All we have to do is get ourselves out of the way of the process. So if it's then also the nature of the mind to be still, you end up with a very different, fundamentally different approach to meditation from what you would if you're trying to still a purely active mind. And this is the difference between transcendental meditation and other forms of meditation. And Deepak Chopra, when he learnt it, he said it was a major breakthrough in meditation, because it really brought the tradition back into focus, essentially. And that is what transcendental meditation is. It's a very simple, innocent, effortless process of what Maharishi used to say in the 60s, just to let it be.
We take a specific thought which suits us, which is called the mantra, or a suitable sound for us, which we receive from the trained teacher of transcendental meditation. And these teachers are found everywhere in the world. I have trained them properly, and they give a suitable word. And the man experiences the thought of that sound and starts minimizing that thought to experience the finer state of that thought until the source of thought is fathomed and the conscious mind reaches the transcendental area of being. So from gross thought to the subtle state of thought, to the subtlest state of thought, this is the path of transcendental meditation till the conscious mind reaches the bliss consciousness or transcendental consciousness or pure consciousness or the state of being. Here in this state of being, the mind becomes soaked with energy, intelligence, and great happiness. With it, it comes out and performs and experiences the world much better than before.
We use a mantra, a sound, which is taught in a very simple process of instruction and a course over 4 consecutive sessions over generally 3 or 4 days. In that, people are given a mantra, a sound, a primordial sound, a Sanskrit sound, one of nature's sounds, which is particularly effective in allowing the mind that space to just settle in its most effortless, natural way towards stillness.
But any one of those scientists could practice a technique, Transcendental Meditation, which, remember, true happiness is not out there. You're given a mantra, a very specific sound, vibration, thought. Very specific. It needs to be life-supporting at all deeper levels. And that mantra that you're given, that Maharishi gives, the key that opens the door. The mantra turns the mind within, turns the awareness within, and you naturally dive. Why is it natural? Because each deeper level of mind and each deeper level of intellect has more happiness. And the deeper levels of mind and deeper levels of intellect correspond to deeper levels of matter. At the borderline of intellect, you transcend. Transcend is the key word. It means to go beyond. You're going beyond field of relativity, duality, experiencing oneness. Pure, unbounded, infinite consciousness.
Many people, when they start to meditate, immediately they begin to feel, they develop insight into their own religion. They become more deeply religious. And therefore, TM is a friend to all religions. Church World is a paper of Catholic youth in the state of Maine in the United States. They wrote 4 beautiful articles, and the chief editor of that paper was leading a youth group of Catholics. He advocated in his paper that all the youth should immediately start to meditate in order to release stress and strain in their life. And then he said, this practice will make real, good, devout Christians.
The captain of the ship's excited. Everyone's got to be excited, right? Then I read that you discovered Transcendental Meditation around the Eraserhead time because you thought, maybe I'm not that happy, although I'm doing this, pursuing my dream here and really sticking to it, because Eraserhead took a long time. But then you got involved in it, and I'm sure you've grown in your pursuit of happiness and consciousness and over the years also, but
you grow in it by experiencing that deepest level. So, when people get older, they think they're wiser. We have experiences that give us, lessons, and we learn things in life, but the ball of consciousness doesn't grow. Just because you learn some things doesn't mean consciousness grows. The name of the game is grow the consciousness. And you can only grow it by experiencing pure consciousness, by diving within. So it's life transforming when you have this experience every day, every single day gets better. And so it's a human thing. And people, that is why people have been sitting in meditation throughout time. It's a real thing. Mm-hmm. And we have, as human beings, a potential, and it's got different names, like enlightenment, fulfillment, liberation, salvation. These things are what we're in the. You're from Japan,
Right?
And you come from a tradition where there's meditation. In the West, we don't even hear about it.
So I'm doing TM from 1972. And I started, and I didn't do the morning one. You're supposed to do it twice a day. And I stopped doing the morning one pretty early in me doing it because I didn't understand getting out of bed and then resting. I had trouble with that concept. To get out of bed, now rest. Okay, so I don't know, maybe I did it for a couple of months and then I just stopped, but I was very regular with my afternoon meditation. And when I was doing the TV series in which I was the star of the show, the executive producer, the head writer, casting, and editing for 22 to 24 episodes on network television, not cable, network, for 9 years, okay? That's a lot of work. And I'm a regular guy, pretty much. I'm not one of these crazy people that has endless, boundless energy. I'm just a normal guy. But that was not a normal situation to be in. And so what I would do is every day when everybody would have lunch, I would do TM. And then while we'd go back to work, and then I would eat while I was working, because I had missed lunch. But that is how I survived the 9 years. It was that 20 minutes in the middle of the day would save me. Because, and you also got to imagine, and I know everybody's life is hard and every job is hard, but I mean, when it's your name on the goddamn show, the pressure is, it's intense. And then the show got successful and everybody expected each week to be even better than the last. And it was a lot of pressure. And I loved every second of it, but it was a lot of pressure and a lot of work and it was all great, but never could have accomplished it without TM.
You dive within and transcending, experiencing this field of pure consciousness, and you enliven it, you unfold it, it grows. And the final outcome of this growth of consciousness is called enlightenment. And enlightenment is the full potential of all of us human beings. And a side effect of enlivening this consciousness is negativity starts to recede. When I started meditating, I was filled with anxieties, filled with fears, kind of a depression and anger. And I took this anger out on my first wife, and after 2 weeks of meditation, she comes to me and she says, "What's going on?" And I was quiet for a moment because it could have been any number of things she might have been referring to. But I finally said, "What do you mean?" And she said, "This anger, where did it go?" And I didn't even realize it had lifted. Now, these negative things like anger and depression and sorrow, they're beautiful things in a story, but they're like a poison to the filmmaker. They're a poison to the painter. They're poison to creativity. They're like a vice grip. If you are super depressed, you can't hardly get out of bed, let alone think ideas, have that creativity flowing. So it's money in the bank to get that beautiful consciousness growing, which is flowing creativity, the ability to catch ideas at a deeper level. Intuition grows. This field is a field of pure knowingness. You dive in there, you sort of just know how to go. You know how to solve solutions. It's like an ocean of solutions. And you can just feel this thing growing. But the ultimate thing for me is the enjoyment of the doing, the enjoyment of life grows huge. I love making films now more than ever before. Ideas flow more. Everybody has more fun on the set. Creativity flows. People look like friends and not like enemies. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing, and it's us. In Vedic science, this field of pure consciousness is called Atma, the self of us all. At that level, as Dr. John Hagelin would tell you, at that level of life, we are all one. We're one. Diversity up here, unity down below. This consciousness has qualities: infinite creativity, intelligence, energy, love, power, and bliss. Dynamic peace. Always been there, never had a beginning, it is and it will be forever. Unbounded, infinite, eternal, immutable, immortal consciousness, fullness. Any human being can experience this easily and effortlessly with Transcendental Meditation. Transcendental Meditation is just a vehicle to get you here. When you experience this level, you enliven it, and it grows in the individual. So if you started with a ball of consciousness this big, everyone has consciousness. Consciousness is the way to understand consciousness. If you took it away, you'd see what it really is. If there wasn't any consciousness, we wouldn't exist. And if we did exist, we wouldn't know it. It's the I amness of life. It is life itself.
It's a fullness of potentiality. And it's the same as Jesus said, the kingdom of heaven is within you. It's not an emptiness, it contains all the potentiality of our lives. Infinite creativity, infinite energy, as well as silence, and a whole range of benefits and all the beautiful things in life that we ought to be, and we find ourselves struggling to be. In fact, we don't need to struggle, we just need to allow our mind to settle into that silence.
You experience this level, and you enliven it, and this ball of consciousness that you thought was just going to stay the same for the rest of your life starts expanding, and these qualities expand. So day by day, you're growing creativity, intelligence, love, energy, and this ball of consciousness is now expanding, and you're owning unconscious or subconscious more and more and more. Side effect of the growth of this consciousness is negativity starts to recede, tension, I write all these things, stress, anxiety, sorrow, depression, anger, hate, fear, all starts to go. Can't live in the light of this. Anger is not creativity. It's blocking it.
But don't you think anger can be productive for art sometimes?
Strong feelings. You get angry at something, but it's not like an inner anger is poison. A person who's angry is poisoning themselves and poisoning the environment. Watch what happens when that anger lifts. The person can have super strong feelings, but a clarity, ability to focus and do the things. And a person can understand anger, but not a victim of it. You're able to show things, do things, find things, discover things, and get those ideas and translate them. And it's like, hello, you know, it's like, it's so obvious. Suffering kills creativity. Concentration, contemplation keep you right on the surface. You're not transcending. It's this field that does everything for the human being. This field. And you experience this field when you really get there and transcend. This is transcendental consciousness. It's, you know, there's so many names for this field. The Tao, Kingdom of Heaven, all these names for this one field, the absolute, totality. In Vedic language, this field is called Atma. A-T-M-A means the self with a capital S. Know thyself. Get there. Know it by being it. Unfold it. And what you're doing is unfolding your full potential as a human being. Your full potential of the beautiful human being is called enlightenment. And people can unfold their enlightenment. The key to the whole thing is to experience that deepest level, the unbounded ocean, pure consciousness. And then remember that ocean has qualities like bliss, love, creativity, intelligence, but absolute intelligence, absolute love, universal love, energy, absolute energy. And modern science now says the same thing as ancient Vedic science, that everything that is a thing comes from this field. So if we can learn a technique that takes us all the way within, and we really truly experience that deepest level, that level does everything for us. It is in Vedic language called Atma. It means the self. There's a line that says, know thyself. This is that. You don't know yourself by talking to yourself or looking in the mirror. You know yourself, what you really are, by diving in and experiencing the self, the big self. And when you grow in that, it all comes clearer and clearer and clearer. And you really start unfolding the full potential of the human being. So blissful, so deep, so kind of wide, and it's so much just like it's an experience that I really wanted. I wanted it. And it's not like you have to meditate every day. You want to meditate every day. But so much comes out. Why would you give that up? And if it leads to the full potential, if it leads to enlightenment, why would you not want that? But it's up to the individual.
And I'm 60, by the way. I'm 60 years old. And I really thought, well, the time has come. I'm 60. The time has come to kind of throttle back the output that I'm, of life. I need to work less. I need to do less because I'm old and, let's cut the engines and glide a little bit. Well, so Bob introduced me, which I should have known 40 years ago, but I didn't, to the morning TM. And my entire energy and focus and ability to function all day and come home and have the family. I'm a 60-year-old guy with little kids. It's all screwed up. It shouldn't be like this. And now I am functioning on this level that I really did not think was possible for someone my age. And I just thought it would be too much. So that's how my life changed dramatically this year, meeting Bob and doing TM properly. And I can't tell you, and I've become obsessive also talking to people about it. My press officer is here. I got him to do it. I got my assistant. Every person I meet now, I'm just grabbing them by the lapels and going, you got to do this. Because it's just a dumb way to live, not doing it.
Maharishi has a saying from the very beginning, and it rhymes, so we remember this little phrase: water the root and enjoy the fruit. And this simple little phrase is the key to individual enlightenment and the key to world peace. Watering the root for the individual is that diving within, experiencing that fundamental level of pure consciousness, growing in that, and the fruit of that action is enlightenment. For world peace, now, when you expand consciousness in the individual, negativity starts to recede. The peace-creating group is like a peace-creating factory with the most perfect machines on earth inside that factory, the human beings. And this is all the thing tied to peace. It gets to the point where you couldn't hurt another human being. It would be like hurting yourself. This is the way it is supposed to be. It's not the way it is, but it would be so beautiful. But the key is there. This feeling, it just grows and it's real. It's much more real feeling than our world, which is pretty much an absurd joke. It's a sadness. It's the old way. And now there is a new way to real peace, and nothing to do with killing. And so it's reached a point where you just wouldn't ever think to hurt another human being. And you travel in real peace, you travel and you meet friends, not enemies. The light of unity destroys the enmity in an enemy, destroys negativity. There's no more enemy.